Thank you very much. Learned speaker on the dais and distinguished participants. I see important and many familiar faces. I feel happy that from farmer organization, we have Shri Krishanveer Chaudhary ji also here. We'll get to know his views in subsequent session on soybean, Gupta ji and representative of industry and other delegates. Well, as for the schedule mentioned in the program, we are already 10 minutes over to the end of the session. It was expected to be over by 12:50 and it is 1. So I will not stand for long between you and lunch, but I will see if I can touch on the important points related to soybean with you. For paucity of time, I may not be able to provide you the detail or elaborate some of those points. So if somebody has any doubt or any question on those points, maybe during the break we can discuss it. First of all, as Dr. Singh, Director of Soybean Institute mentioned, soybean is a very fascinating crop. It is not only fascinating crop, when it comes to India, this is the crop which has thrown very large number of surprises. And couple of confusion which we are still grappling with related to soybean is that this is also a very young crop in India. Till early 70s, soybean was not grown in India. Its cultivation was restricted only to 20-30,000 hectare area, that too in Uttarakhand and Northeast, black soybean. And it was used for different purpose than the purpose for which it is used now. So in some sense, the yellow soybean was introduced in India only about 55 or 54 years back. So an ancient society like India, where we have learnt many things over millennia, over generations. So soybean is a crop about which we don't have that kind of, that if you are consuming a particular kind of food, its effect may not manifest in 1 year, 10 years. It manifests over generations that you come to know what is its effect. And India has that rich information in respect of most other food, whether it is wheat, rice, bajra, jawar, sugar, mango, all those things, but not soybean. It's a very young crop as far as India is concerned. So I think that is the reason that for its promotion, special efforts need to be made. Then second is, as I mentioned, that the soybean till early 70 was not grown in India. So it came from USA. Illinois University brought it to Pantnagar, then IRI, Pantnagar University in Madhya Pradesh, Jabalpur University, they joined hands to find out whether this crop can be useful for India. And then the second surprise this crop threw was that this was brought to India with this intention to address protein deficiency of India, because pulse, we were having very high deficiency of pulse at that time. So between say 50 and early 70, if you look at per capita availability of pulses, it declined very sharply. So India was in, I would say, very terrible need of addressing the protein deficiency. So when soybean came, nobody consumed it as pulses for which it was brought to India. The initial use was that some of the soybean was used to produce milk, soya milk. So those of you who were in Delhi, I was a student in IRI in 80, from 80 to 83. In the morning, the bottle milk which we will get in bottle, because I was living with my wife, so not hostel milk, we used to buy. It was a soya milk. So DMS, all they were using soybean as a soya milk. But that is history. Subsequently, this crop emerged as a oilseed crop. We all know that now more than 80% of soybean is being used for producing edible oil, and byproduct is soya meal and cake, which we use in the country and which we also export and earn, again, a sizable foreign exchange. The other surprise from soybean, I published a piece in Business Standard, maybe some of you just read it, to highlight success and failure of soybean, and that is that soybean, even now, 98% area, rather it is more than 98%, is rain-fed. So its popularity spread only in rain-fed area. It hardly is grown in irrigated area. Till 4 years back, the figure was 1% irrigated area. Now it has increased to close to 2%. So it remains rain-fed. So after its introduction and recent status, the area as well as production of soybean increased by 130 times, from less than 1 lakh hectare when it established in 1975. Now it is grown on 1 crore and 30 lakh hectare, 13 million area. Same thing happened to production, because yield around 1 quintal, so same, 1 ton, so same kind of thing happened here. So I call soya as a success story. In fact, it was in 2005 that FAO asked me to write a case story on soybean, and they paid me $10,000. Which attracted me to write a good story for them. So then I started observing what was happening in soybean. So soybean spread in India is the best success story in the world, that a crop which was not even occupying 1% area, net sown area of the country, is now the 3rd or 4th largest crop. Nowhere in the world, even wheat and rice have not seen that kind of area expansion or increase in production which soybean has witnessed. Another surprise which soybean brought is that in case of other crops we call green revolution crop, rice and wheat, their expansion happened because of yield breakthrough. In case of soybean, it was a one-time yield breakthrough, that our traditional black soybean was giving yield of 300 to 400 kg per hectare, but the germplasm which came from Illinois, that gave even at that time 800, 900 kg per hectare, and now also we are little higher than 1000 kg per hectare. So except that one-time jump, because we introduced different germplasm, that has much higher yield compared to the native soybean which was grown in this country. So except for that gain, subsequently there was no increase. But despite that, area expansion 130 times. So there must be some strength of soybean because of which it spread, and that strength holds till date. That at that time it spread in Madhya Pradesh, now it is spreading in Maharashtra. Soybean is no more a MP crop, now it is more a Maharashtra crop than Joe. Now also the spread of soybean is more than 99% of growth. In economics we have tools to find out how much is because of different factors. So more than 99% is area effect in the increase in production. Now same thing is happening in Maharashtra. Not that soybean recently got any superiority in Maharashtra, simply because in Maharashtra cotton yield is declining and soybean is replacing that. It is a hardy crop. Relatively, it is also more stable crop. So it has survived over rain-fed over a long time. So this is what has been supporting its production. And then from demand side, Indian started consuming per capita more and more edible oil, which was less than 5 kg till 2000, and now it is 22 kg per year. So because of that, I think soybean also tilted toward oil seeds. So with this background, I will make some comment on the working paper toward the end, but toward the objective or goal which Soybean Promotion Welfare Association is trying to do to promote soybean as a food. I am convinced that soybean has very strong and desirable nutrition value, and in country like India where vegetarianism dominates, there is a strong case to promote crop like soybean, which is rich in protein. Protein are our strong concern from health point of view and other point of view. But in economics, we use a framework when you want to promote any products. That is, we look at whether we need to pay attention to demand side, whether we need to pay attention to supply side, or what we need to do. So there are ways that if you want to, if you have enough production, if you have no problem on production side, then you go for advertising and creating awareness. So demand promotion, you make investment there, so you will find that the product will get promoted. And that's what history also shows, that when British wanted Indian to consume, rather than using hookah, they wanted cigarette to be sold. So they threw cigarette packets in the roundabout in Mumbai city. So initially, you even throw a product free to promote it, to create awareness about that kind of things. And I still feel that as far as soybean is concerned, even I was not knowing about many of its desirable quality till the representative of this food promotion welfare association people met me, because I carried the impression which was there in the system. Our DDG engineering from Bhopal, क्या नाम था उनका? हाँ? नहीं, Nawab Ali Sahab. So he used to tell us that soybean is very difficult to digest. You cannot digest more than 25 gram of soybean, something like that. He said it in some of the public lectures, and he used to tell us that if you want to consume more than this, then a very complicated processing is involved to take away some of the toxic substances which were there. But I now learned that maybe we have improved varieties, maybe we have improved processes, that kind of thing has now turned out to be a myth. There are now soybean preparation available where you can consume more and more of it. In fact, I'm a fan of soya nugget curry. So that is the kind of thing. So I think one is that we need to do lot of work on demand side. And since you are selling a commodity, not a product, so it is not responsibility of individual that he is promoting his brands. So I think it is duty of industry in totality that you need to spend money on advertisement, on creating awareness. Like, you see, when you see on TV, Sunday hoya Monday, roz khao ande. You see, media affect everybody who is seeing. They are influenced, that you are just ensuring that any adverse effect against non-veg does not affect the demand for egg, etc. So you come with that kind of advertisement. And I feel that on demand side, it is very important that we produce literature, distribute that literature in the mass functions in melas in rural area and elsewhere through TV and other kind of campaign. And if government get convinced nothing like that, through nutrition program, it can be taken up. And if you have to do that, as a producer, you have a vested interest. Okay? Everybody will say they want to sell their product, that's why they are saying. Therefore, it is important to involve parties which are not having particular interest in promoting the products, like National Institute of Nutrition, like CFTRI, like NIFTM, that you involve all those institutes in either this working paper or you produce another kind of paper where this information should be there. So when you have emblem of NIN or CFTRI, India's public, whatever, I'm not casting any comment on credibility of any system. People still believe that if government says something about something, that is not with the profit motive. There is some genuineness in that. So if you involve these kind of scientific institution in your demand promotion, I think that will have big impact, but it is needed. So soybean, as I said, it is a typical crop. Again, that in most other crops you have problem either of demand or of supply, but here problem is both. That you need to create demand for your product, but next question is, where is supply? Soybean also is in short supply in the sense that India is meeting 55% of its requirement through import of edible oil. And soybean is a major edible oil, not first, second, major important edible oils. So if I divert, say, 100 or 1000 kg of soybean to soya food, that means I have to import 180 kg more edible oil, on which my dependence is already so high, 55%. We want to reduce that dependence. If it exceeds 50%, then many studies show that it becomes risky. So you lose that. Then another 720 kg of oil meal which you produce, which is important feed for our livestock. If you give protein to livestock, they give you more milk, egg and all those things, and also earning foreign exchange. Since the commodity is not in surplus, therefore you have to see how you handle this trade-off. In this kind of situation, the best instrument for promoting any commodity as food is whether we can increase its productivity. So productivity is the mantra. There are serious issues in case of this commodity, that how we increase productivity of soybean. Though your association is only Soya Food Promotion and Welfare Association, but I think your effort is depend critically on what happen on production side. Whether we are to increase productivity of soybean, because if we are not increasing productivity, production may increase, then it increase at the cost of some other commodities. And it is not that we are so much surplus in some other commodity that you can set aside that area for soybean. That's not the case. Now soybean is gaining at the cost of cotton, and we are becoming more and more import dependent on cotton. So I think this is key on which already serious efforts are being made. We need to discuss more and more about it. And that is the issue which, again, I feel require public debate, that why in case of soybean, we could not achieve any breakthrough in productivity. So last 50 years, almost same yield, only little bit increase, but if you apply statistical test, it is non-significant. That it was 1000 kg, now it is fluctuating. In some year we get 1200, 1100, but again, it has tendency to go back to 1 ton kind of thing. Why we didn't? These issues require very serious attention. One is that if we got success in wheat, if we got success in rice, maize, it was the result of cumulative global R&D. It is not efforts of only my or Guptaji's Institute of IRI. It was the result of that breakthrough is the result of global R&D. That a dwarf wheat plant found in Japan moved to USA, from USA to Mexico, then Mexico to all those places, and this is how that green revolution, similar story in rice, and Western world, which has been the vanguard of breakthrough in technologies in the last 80, 90 year or last 1 century. In case of soybean, they did not use conventional method of plant breeding, which could be borrowed by us or which could be used by us. They went for genetically modified crop. We all know that this is how in canola, in corn, in soybean, the Western world, they went for genetically modified. So as a result, when soybean was introduced in India, US yield were only 30-40% higher than us, but today they are 300% higher than us. So because of that, that differential emerged, and because of that, the onus for developing soybean varieties which are non-GM fell on one country. That global resource which was available for breakthrough is not available. China till few years back was also non-GM like us, but last 3 years they have completely abandoned that and they have come to it. But in India, we can disagree with one another, but there is a huge sensitivity toward GM, and I do not see that in next 3-4 years we will be able to resolve this kind of thing. It takes time. So this sensitivity is there. So maybe Dr. Singh will be knowing better, is it possible that the way we have deployed GE technology in rice, can we do those kind of things in case of soybean? Because GE technology is not genetically modified. It is gene editing that you are within the plant you are doing. But the technique which were used by Dr. Swaminathan and others for wheat, is now the technique is slightly different. Otherwise, it's not that you are doing any shade-khani with the germplasm of the plant. You are not introducing any outside bacteria gene or nothing like that. I think we need to try that sort of thing, agronomic practices and other kind of things to see to it that we take advantage of that. So we need to work very, very seriously on supply side because we are not having surplus. As such, there are trade-off. Now, one possibility is that if you can make this trade-off more paying, then what we earn from edible oil of soybean or from the soya cake, if your food gives more profit, then you will find nobody is stopping you from going for this. But for that, I think awareness creation is very, very important. Like this product of soya nugget became popular, if this soya dal analog, which Gupta ji talked about it, this kind of thing can be popularized. We can still say in international market we have no problem of importing edible oil. That's why so much per capita use of soybean in the country has increased, because it grew so much in the world that it was available at a cheaper rate. So in case of pulses also we want to consume more, but they are not even available in the global market. That is also the reason that why pulse intake in this country did not increase, that pulse production did not keep pace with the rise in demand in the country, and even outside the country also it was not available. The story was different in case of edible oils. So I think now the way out in the short run, in the long run, maybe gene editing technology or some other technology will be helpful in increasing the productivity. But immediately there are possibilities through agronomic improvement in agronomic practices, increasing the seed replacement rate, quality seed. In fact, I did a calculation and I submit also. Maybe it will be heard at some point of time. You know, soybean is a legume crop. It fixes atmospheric nitrogen in the soils. So the value of that nitrogen to the society is so high that that value is more than what is the cost of seed. So in a way, it is a saving that if government gives urea, then one bag of urea cost 1100, but we are giving to farmer at 250. So that 800 rupee 50 which government is giving as a subsidy. So if some farmer produce soybean in place of other crop where urea is used, so there is no need to use that urea because soybean fixes some. I have written these things in my paper, how many kg it fixes, and value of that nitrogen is more than what is the cost of the seed. So if that seed can be given to the farmer, quality seeds, so these things can produce some result, not take yield from 1 ton to stateway 2.5 ton, but they can definitely help us in increasing yield from 1000 kg to 1500 kg or 1700 kg, and agronomic practice, that kind of scope is there. Then on demand side, I think if you write this working paper, I have these two suggestions. One is that if you involve professional institute, then the credibility will increase. And secondly, please change the introduction. Today in India, 30% population is not below poverty line. It is not even 3%. I am insisting in NITI Aayog that please come out with the paper to produce it. My own calculations are, somebody can sit with me, that now in India the population below poverty line is not even 4-5%. So that is the situation which where we have reached. And also another thing which we need to address, NIN and other institutions already grappling, that in India in last 25 years, per capita food production has increased by 50%. Around 2000, we were producing 1.25 kg food per person per day. Today, we are producing 2 kg food per person per day. But composition is not same. Composition is not same. Consumer awareness and preferences are also not same. That point, last point I will say, that why I see that importance for promoting food like soybean is now rising, because whether protein was of cereal was less digestible, etc., is a separate story. But much of the protein used to come from cereals. And in India, per capita intake of cereal is declining. So you see, this is another change happening in case of India, that consumers, in terms of quantity, they are not increasing the intake to take care of their nutrition. So what you do in this kind of things? Either food get diversified in such a way that rather than consuming wheat which give you 10 or 12% protein, you eat something which give you 14 or 15% of protein. Or you go for biofortification, that you increase the nutrition content of the food, because Indian, again it is a cultural issue that we don't eat food like Western. We eat small portion, small quantity, that is in our culture. So in this kind of situation, it becomes more difficult to address the nutrition. So I think the product like soybean, which contain 40% protein, that even if you consume 1/3 or 1/4 compared to cereal, or even compared to other kind of pulses, it contains 2 times proteins, that can make big difference. So these are some of the thoughts which occur to me, but I feel this idea of producing a working paper to create awareness, to put pressure on policymakers, to do the things needed for promotion of soybean is very important, but please do it in a professional manner and write it by giving the introduction which take cognizance of what is the latest situation of agriculture and nutrition. Thank you.